Welcome guys back to another lecture in our color psychology section. In this lecture we're going to be talking about the color yellow. So like the previous last few lectures, we're basically going to be talking about what it represents, the effects, and the variations. So starting off with what is it? Yellow is one of the three primary colors. We looked at the last two primary colors with blue and red. So the last one would be yellow in that spectrum. And now this is considered the brightest color on the visible spectrum. The brightest color being white, but since white is not visible as a on the spectrum because it's what goes through it, it's not considered on that hue regard. So it's most noticeable along with red. So as I pertained to in a few lectures ago, red was quickly grabbing attention. So does yellow. Yellow is the brightest one, so yellow is one that we'll notice right away. And it is the color of happiness and optimism. A lot of books and a lot of psychology has gone into yellow being used to create a great atmosphere that induces individuals into thinking that there is a brighter side to life. This is also used in psychology wards where, people having depression or sadness in general. This color is a great use for lifting spirits and creating a general happiness within them. Now looking at some of the positive and negative effects of yellow. So as I previously said, it is optimistic. It brings cheerfulness. It's a very enthusiastic color. It's also the color of fun, wisdom, analytical, and creative. Some of the negative effects of yellow could be too impulsive, fearful, empathetic, a cowardice, and even impatient. And we'll look a little bit more into this in this lecture. So what does it represent? Yellow also represents mind and intellect. See, yellow stimulates the mental faculties and activates the analytical part of the brain. See, a great way to use this would be inside of a video game where the player has to solve a very complex riddle or puzzle. Having yellow represented in that scene will maybe induce them to think more analytically about the puzzle and maybe spark something inside them. It's also the color of happiness and fun. So when we think of yellow, we think of fun or happiness. It's very uplifting to the spirit and creates an enthusiastic environment and awakens a great confidence and optimistic outlook. Looking at the example on our left, we see this is daybreak in a video game, and you could tell that with the colors slowly shaping all over the buildings and shadowing over with a nice glimmer, the player looks and feels optimistic about, what new adventure awaits them. This is a great color to use whenever you want to start a day cycle. Always start with a nice bright yellow. It also represents communication of new ideas. And it basically relates to the expression and integration of new ideas and thoughts. So, as you can see, these two games are heavy on the team aspect of it. CSGO obviously and Gears of War. CSGO requires you to work in teams. So obviously having yellow as our logo pretty much induces that you have to use strategy and a thoughtful, careful approach into understanding what you need to do. But also is a great use for communication as well. So how does it affect us? Well, one time yellow is also very creative. So we find new ways of doing things and activities. It's also decisiveness. It helps with the clear thinking, but can also be impulsive as well. See, the thing is with yellow is that, yes, you will be able to make a decision, but sometimes it's a very impulsive decision and therefore not probably the best decision. So depending on the hue of yellow, this could pretty much relate to that. And it also causes anxiety as well. See, too much yellow in an area can lead to nervousness and an emotional breakdown. Due to the fact that we're seeing so much bright colors or seeing too much yellow in general, our body tends to start to break down and feel emotionally distraught because we're being overbearing from the color. Yellow is also very critical and helps create a more analytical approach toward themselves and others. Now looking at the example of Yahtzee to the left, we see that this game has used yellow in their color palette so effectively that it definitely portrays what yellow really is about. Critical and analytical. The player has to obviously decide which type of squares they want to click on to add points to, while also paying attention towards what the other player is doing. I think Yahtzee did a great job of integrating this color to represent critical thinking. Now we get down to the variations of yellow. So for starters, let's look at pastel yellow. This creates a clear mind and alertness. This is a great color to use whenever you want to alert someone of a situation. Yellow is also used. This pastel yellow is pretty much used on streetlights as well to let someone know that it'll be turning red soon. Lemon yellow. Now this promotes a self-reliant attitude, a need for an orderly lifestyle and an approach to things. See, this color is great to use if somebody needs to obviously become more self-reliant, or at least understand that there has to be changes in their lifestyle in order to, attain certain goals. Golden yellow. Now, this color is very curious towards the finer details of things. So using this color to make a player try to understand the minute ingredients that you've laid out for them, or little minute details that you want them to find, using this color in your color palette in that scene would be a great way for them to actually find them. Dijon yellow. Now, this sort of yellow has an inclination towards depression or the lack of love and low self-morale. So using this color to, shape someone who's very defeated or someone who is obviously going through a tough time, that would be the greatest color palette to use for that person, along with black as well, because black also represents depression. And that's it, guys, for this lecture on yellow, and I'll see you guys in the next one.